here with you today to offer you some history shots.
We're in Corfu, an island in the far northwestern part of Greece.
And right behind us, you can see the old fortress. It is a Venetian fortress in the city of Corfu. The fortress covers the cape which initially contained the old town of Corfu that had emerged during the Byzantine times.
The earliest indication of fortifications of the site dates from around the 6th century AD, after the destruction of the ancient city of Corcyra by the Goths.
Corcyra is one of the former names of Corfu town.
Right. The Gothic invasion forced the residents to seek shelter inside the fortifications on the peninsula at the edge of the town.
The first tower, the Old Tower, is built and fortified, while the occupation of the city by the Andegavians leaves its footprint in the fortress of the new tower, what is now called the Tower of the Earth.
Following a gap between the 7th and 10th centuries AD, where nothing about the citadel is known, the first report of renewed fortification occurs in the early 11th century.
It is then that Anna Komnene refers to it as the very strongly fortified city of Corfu in her book The Alexid.
The citadel features two peaks which were fortified by strong towers for centuries. The western and higher peak, which is closer to the town,
That one?
Okay, was fortified by the Byzantines around the 12th century AD and was called Castel Atera or Castle near the land by the Venetians, who also called it Castel Nuovo or New Castle.
The Venetians called the eastern peak Castel Amar, Castle by the Sea, or Castel Vecchio,
Old Castle.
and was also used as powder magazine for a time.
Following the Gothic invasion and until the 13th century, the medieval town of Corfu developed within the boundaries of the peninsula, which today is occupied by the old fortress.
In the early 15th century, the Venetians started replacing the old Byzantine fortifications with large-scale fortifications. These are being carried out to counter the ongoing Turkish attacks.
Following the first siege of Corfu by the Ottomans in 1537, the Venetian governor ordered the construction of new defensive zones, incorporating new bastions and towers.
They still exist to this day.
The bastions that were designed by Savognan and Martinengo between 1545 and 1555 are considered masterpieces of military engineering.
Savognan and Martinengo were Venetian military engineers.
The fortress is gradually fortified more and more, gets a new look, while it is being developed outside the walls, the Borgo or Xopoli, in the area of today's historic center.
As part of the defensive plans for the peninsula of the citadel and to secure its perimeter, the Venetians created the Contrafossa.
A moat which transformed the citadel into an artificial island. The moat exists to this day and is still known to the locals under its Italian name, Contrafossa.
Since the creation of Contrafossa, access to the citadel was by a suspension bridge, which in modern times has been replaced by a permanent one.
After walking through the impressive central gate and down the vaulted corridor,
As we just done,
You will see the 17th century Latin chapel of Our Lady of Camelite. It is said that in the Venetian years, those sentenced to death were transported here a few hours before their execution.
Today, the largest building of the fortress houses of Corfu Historical Archives and a rich collection of its public library, with documents and books dating back to 1480.
At the same level in the north, you will find the British Barracks building, which today houses the music department of the Ionian University.
Proceeding south to the middle level, the Verciale, you will see the Church of St. George, which reminds us of an ancient temple.
It was built in 1840 to meet the worship needs of the English army, but the unification of Corfu with Greece, it was converted into an Orthodox church and decorated with pictures of the Cretan painter Emanuele Zane.
In 2007, the old town of Corfu was included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. It was inscribed on the list because Corfu town is a distinctive example of construction type and architectural symbol which is reflected in the design of its system of fortification and its neoclassical buildings.
It is also a landscape that displays important periods of human history. To be specific, Corfu town meets the fourth criterion of the UNESCO regulations, according to which
The urban import ensemble of Corfu, dominated by its fortresses of Venetian origin, constitutes an architectural example of outstanding universal value in both its authenticity and its integrity.
So that was it.
A small history tour at our Full of History Palio Frurio.
See you!